Georgia's loaded. Where have you heard this before? Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down the Dogs. We've got Palmer Thoms on the line from Dogs 247 with spring practice just about 3 weeks away. And Palmer's in to get us all set up with personnel that is very, very impressive and experienced. Palmer, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Like you said, this is a very talented and experienced Georgia roster that we're going to be breaking down. A lot of guys returning on offense, and that was, something that looked like a strength for the Bulldogs down the stretch. So excited to break it down with you today.
We talk college football here every day, so please like the video, share it on social media, and subscribe. We go live every day, typically multiple times per day. Hit that bell for the notifications. That way you know when we're going live. JT Daniels threw over 100 passes, so everybody got a pretty good sample of his abilities, and especially in the bowl game against Cincinnati, in which they came back in the fourth quarter to get the job done. Your thoughts about JT Daniels and whether he met the expectations of, who knows about players and coaches, but at least the fan base?
Yeah, I think, when given what Georgia had at quarterback early on in the season, expectations were pretty low, and it didn't take much for Daniels to surpass what Georgia had at the position. You look at his first game, threw for 401 yards against Mississippi State, 4 touchdowns. Was a big night in Sanford Stadium. The Bulldogs brought out the black uniforms. Everyone was super excited about that. And it was quite the debut for the redshirt sophomore. I think looking at going into this next season, it's going to be huge that he's got this second season under the same offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, a lot more familiarity with the system, a lot of comfort with these wide receivers that we're going to talk about. All the pieces are there for Georgia to have a great offense, the experience, the depth, and it all starts with JT Daniels.
So was there anything noticeable in him completing 67% of his passes, 10 touchdowns, 2 picks, that in addition to just being comfortable with the offense and working with these wide receivers for a full other offseason and into another season, that there would be a marked level of improvement that needs to take place? Anything that stands out to you in regards to his game?
Yeah, I think if you look at Daniels and his mechanics, they weren't great, especially on some of the deep balls. His lower body is not. He's got all the arm talent in the world, but he doesn't have great lower body mechanics. And I think part of that is, him being. You look at his college career. He played his first season at USC, but really should have been a high school senior that year. Then had a knee injury that kept him out for a whole season, and really a season and a half when you look at how his first year at Georgia transpired. I think that's an area where it can be improved for him. And I think, working with Todd Monken for a second offseason, Buster Faulkner, who's a, quarterback guru himself, is an offensive analyst for the Georgia. They've got a lot that they can work with. And like I said, the arm talent is there. You saw it on the deep balls. But, ideally, I think for Georgia fans, they would like to see him put those more on a line than a lob, if that makes sense.
Got Palmer Thoms on the line from Dogs 247 Sports to break down Georgia football heading towards spring practice on March 16th with the spring game on April 17th. So considering we saw plenty of Stetson Bennett last year as he took over in the second quarter of game 1 and played about 3 or 4 games after that, how does the job set up for the backup role?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting to watch, because you look at what Georgia has in Stetson Bennett. They've got an experienced guy there, has 8 games under his belt, 3 or 4, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, over 1,000 yards. He's been in this system and around these Georgia coaches for a long, long time, dating back to his time as a walk-on when he ran scout team for the 2017 team, sat behind Jake Fromm, then was kind of the guy this past season. Maybe wasn't intended to be the starting quarterback, but, filled that role for the majority of the season for Georgia and, led the Bulldogs to some big wins over Auburn, Tennessee. Obviously they had the losses to Alabama and Florida, but Stetson was the starting quarterback there and, has been through those battles. that's going to be interesting to see how they handle that, especially given the fact that they've got 5-star quarterback Brock Vandegrift coming in as a true freshman. He's in Athens now. He's from Athens, so it didn't take much to get him here, but he is going to be with the team this spring. He is an early enrollee, and Vandegrift is a guy that has a lot of talent, but he's a dual threat quarterback. He's a bigger guy than Stetson. Stetson, is comes in at 5'11", 190. Brock is bigger than that, listed at 6'3", 205. He's got the arm talent that he can, he threw for, big numbers in high school. He also can run the ball too. He did bang up his knee a little bit during his high school season, played through it. I don't believe he's getting surgery on it. And so that's going to be something to watch. It's not a major injury, but it's definitely something that Georgia fans are going to want to keep an eye on when Vandegrift tucks the ball and runs.